Hello and welcome back to RSThinks. It's good to be back on the channel with a new video. Of recent I took a little bit of a hiatus just to have a little break, in some family stuff, things like that. It's quite fitting actually that the last video that I did put out was actually of this same vehicle. I shot that at Fully Charged, which was a show a few months ago now. But luckily I've been invited to the test drives of this vehicle, the press launch as it were. Where we can finally get behind the wheel of the car and then see what it's like on the road. So I'm going to be giving you the specs of the car. Some things have changed since it was featured on the channel last time. If you do want to watch that video, look in the top right hand corner, I'll put a link to that there now. So it's now called the Ora Funky Cat. It's had a bit of a name change, and it's going to be available to actually order from the 28th of November this year. So they're currently setting up a dealer network. They've got a few dealers up and down the country. There's Braintree, Wolverhampton, and then there's another dealer network being established in Scotland. So from the 28th, you'll literally be able to walk into a showroom or go online and you'll be able to put down a deposit and order this car. So this is the launch version, which they're calling the first edition. There is only one spec. The only thing you can change is the colour. It's available in Aurora Green with a moonlight white roof. There's Mars Red with a starry black roof, Starry Black, which is this car, or Nebula Green. So that's all you can order out of the gate. The reason they've done that is to make it easier for you to basically get your car, rather than have lots of configuration options and things like that. They've just made it so that it's one car, one spec, all you choose is the actual colour. So as I say, that's going live from the 28th of November. So if you're interested, that's when you'll be able to do it. I said before in the previous video that the passing resemblance to a Porsche is not by accident. One of the guys that actually worked on this car actually worked for Porsche for 5 years, and you can see that in the influence at the front. We've got the 911 style headlights, and we've got the bulges on here too, which do look really nice. There's a really cool startup funky thing. So if I switch it off, I switch it on again, you see the pulsing lights flash, which is quite nifty. There's also something around the back that's akin to Knight Rider. So visually on the exterior, nothing's changed much. The car in my previous video did have a panoramic glass roof, which is not an option on this first edition, but I've been told that it is going to be available when they do start putting different specs out onto the market. So that's one to watch. So the dimensions of the Funky Cat are very similar to most of the cars in its class. So it's 4.2 meters long, it's 1.8 meters wide and 1.6 meters tall, which means it's comparable to the ID3, the Leaf and the MG4. So the boot space on the Funky Cat is 228 litres, which is on the smaller side when you compare it against the ID3 at 385 litres, the Leaf at 435 and the new MG4 at 363 litres. As standard, you get your Type 2 charging cable, you also get a first aid kit, and underneath the floor here there's more space, and this is where you'll find the granny charger, the tyre compressor, warning triangle and some gunk for your tyres. So additional storage under here too. It's worth pointing out that the Type 2 granny charger is standard as well. It's not an optional extra like it is on most cars. You'll see that the rear of the car has very similar styles and curves to the Mark 1 Leaf, which again I don't think is a bad thing. The lights are both in the window here on the top, and then we've got indicators, reversing lights down the bottom here, with a fog light down in the middle. So that was just a brief walk around. Let's now get it on the road and see how it drives. So we've been given a test route that takes in A roads and a motorway, so we should be able to get the best out of the car in all these situations. So being electric is obviously very smooth to drive. There's very little in the way of noise from the motor, which is a good thing. So initial impressions, just driving away from the facility that we're at. Very nice inside, very, very premium materials. There isn't any piano black plastic, apart from a very small patch that's on the steering wheel here. Everything is suede, soft touch plastics, which is really nice, feels really premium. It's really well screwed together as well. There's been no rattles or creaks or anything. Everything you touch from the steering wheel, it's just premium everywhere, which is very good to see. Comparing it against my ID3, where the interior is a little bit on the cheap side, it feels so much nicer. So this spec features the dark interior, so we got dark leather and leatherette seats. The other specs can be chosen with a bi-colour, so the red one can have red and white interior. The Aurora colour, which is the darker green, gets like the white interior with the darker green seats as well. Personally, I prefer the black. I'm not one for outlandish colours in an interior of a car, so this is quite nice for me. So the car I'm driving has a 48 kilowatt hour battery. It's got a 126 kilowatt motor, which is equivalent of about 170 PS, 170 brake horsepower. The range of the car is about 193 miles based on the WLTP cycle. It's got 6.6 kilowatt hour charging at single phase. It's got 11 kilowatt charging at 3-phase, and DC charging is up to 100 kilowatts. So from 15 to 80%, you're looking something like 40 minutes or so to charge up. Top speed of the car is limited to 99 miles an hour, and 0 to 62 takes about 8 seconds. You also get an 8-year or 100,000 miles battery and drivetrain warranty, and a 5-year unlimited mileage vehicle warranty. So Ora hopes to start delivering vehicles by the end of the year. Already they've had about 8,000 registrations of interest with people who are interested in the car, maybe looking to purchase the car. They said they've got a whole bunch of cars on their way over to the UK at the moment, which they can do because they don't have all the different specs to actually consider. There is only the one spec of the car at the moment, so it makes it very easy to plan for that kind of thing. Just looking down at the display here, it's brilliant. I've got the speedo like you would usually, but I've actually got the traffic around me as shown on the screen down here, which looks really good. It's kind of akin to what you would see with Tesla with the self-driving feature. So I can see the cars in front of me. I can see the cars to the side of me, which is really, really good. Really cool feature. Both the infotainment and instrument cluster screens are 10.25 inches and have a very clean and uncluttered interface. As well as the hard buttons, you can control the aircon from here and all the other features of the car, and there are lots and lots and lots of features. So one of the really cool features that you have in the surround views, if we turn the surround view on, we can actually turn it into 3D, and then we can actually position the screen around the car look, so we can see how the car is parked. Driving position is brilliant. It's really nice. It was very easy to get comfortable. It's got electric seats, both passenger and driver, which is unusual for a car of this sort of size and this spec. But the spec is really where this car is kind of on its own. It's got everything you could think you would need. It's got all the safety features. It's got the adaptive cruise control. It's got rear traffic alerts, all those sorts of things, which means it was actually given a NCAP 5-star rating in the crash testing that was done this year, which again is another great selling point. So who are Great Wall Motors? They're a Chinese automotive brand that's been around since the 80s, and Ora is their fully electric sub-brand. It's worth pointing out that BMW has a 50-50 joint venture with GWM, looking to develop new platforms, new EV platforms, and GWM is actually going to be producing the next electric Mini, the Mini Aceman, I believe it's called. So it actually stacks up that what they're doing is at the forefront of electrification with vehicles, and BMW has recognised that, and they've actually gone into partnership with them, which is great, but also it gives you the confidence in the brand. Ora's not going to be a short-lived brand. They're going to be around for a long time. So I find the car really comfy to drive. Its visibility is really good. Mirrors are excellent because they're quite big. You've got blind spot indicators on the mirrors too, which is a nice feature. It also got 360-degree cameras, which it will switch to automatically when you're doing slow maneuvers, so you can have greater visibility, which I think is a really cool feature. So some of the external features is it's got 18-inch alloy wheels with disc brakes all round. So unlike the ID3 and the Cupra Born, you've got drum brakes on the back, it's got discs all the way around as well. So one of the features in the car is a facial recognition camera, which works to personalize your settings in the car. So if you've got certain radio presets, or you like a certain layout with the dash, you can actually get that to do it automatically. One of the things we were told in the briefing was that, say you lend your car to a friend and they totally change your radio presets and change all your settings and things, it doesn't matter. As soon as you get back in the car, it will recognize you, and then it will set it all back to what you had, which is really great. We've got the usual assortment of USB ports. There's 2 down the front, there's 1 in the back, and we've got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay too. This model doesn't have it yet, but it is coming soon, so we're using the internal sat-nav for this test route. So we've also got voice recognition in the car, so we can use the voice to actually do certain commands, like "Hello Ora, set air conditioning to 19 degrees.
Okay,
And it's increased the fan speed. "Hello Ora, reduce the fan speed to 0.
Got it. Turning off the fan.
"Hello Ora,
I'm listening.
tell me a joke."
My sense of humour needs just a little more time to develop. Please wait for a day or 2.
You can also use it to control the windows as well. So "Hello Ora,
What's up?
lower driver's window."
Oh, keep right.
How cool is that? "Hello Ora, raise driver's window."
In about 100.
So the voice control system is much more responsive than the ID system, which is really good. So what are my thoughts about the car? I think it's going to do really well. They've really nailed the spec on the car. They've really thought about what they're including. Nothing is an option on this first edition car, which I think is great, which means that if you want to get one of these, the only thing you've got to choose is the colour. So hopefully that means you would get it sooner rather than say 18 months from now, because they've got to build your car. So that's another plus point for me. The price point is good too. Again, if you were looking at something around the 32 grand mark, you're going to be looking at, say, a lower spec ID3, a lower spec Cupra Born, a lower spec Kona. So yes, those are premium brands. This is a brand that, let's face it, not many people would have heard of, but once people realise that the spec on this car is quite high, I think it's really going to make people pay attention to it. Would I have one of these over my ID3? I think I probably would. The quality is so much better, but then I think it has to be, because it's an unknown brand and it's a Chinese brand. The stereotype is that it's going to rattle, it's not going to be well screwed together. Now, this is just the total opposite of this. This is a very, very well put together car. The interior is a very nice place to be, and the materials are just, everything is premium. Everything you're touching is premium, from the leather steering wheel to the soft touch plastics to the leather on the seats. It's just great. It's a really nice place to be.
Turn left and leave the roundabout.
So this is the Ora Funky Cat. Also on display inside the building we were in, there was a Funky Cat GT, which is a little bit of a performance variant of the car. At the moment, it's only just a performance-inspired body kit, but based on sales of this particular car here, that it is possible that they could launch a GT Performance version 2 that obviously has a quicker 0 to 62 speed, that kind of thing. So test drive's over, I've just got to hand it back now. I've really enjoyed driving this car. I really think it's going to do well, as I said. So thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video soon.